can something that was reported to have happened almost 2,000 years ago matter to us today?
Well, good question. But you know what? Just to start, there are a lot of things that have happened in our past. As Americans, as family members, there are a lot of things that have happened to in our past where we go, yeah, George Washington, first president of the United States. Or, do you know what happened during the Civil War? Or, what was it like to be under Roman rule in the first century AD when Jesus was alive? Or, you know, Josephus, he was a pretty good Jewish historian. We can learn a lot about Old Testament backgrounds. Or how about your own family? Do you know that your father was a something? Do you know that your grandfather fought in World War II or has a pilot's license? Whatever it is, history matters a lot to us, and we assume it does because we're always saying things about the past. Usually parents passing it on, because that's what history is. So I think history is important just from the get-go. But go back to this question of, can we know Christianity is true and why are we doing apologetics? To a lot of people, it's incredibly important whether the resurrection is verifiable. And if it's verifiable, how would it be verifiable? I mean, you're not going to say, well, I weighed the resurrection last week or, you know, some other comment that makes some scientific thing. I put the resurrection in a test tube. It doesn't work. But when you say, how do you know the resurrection happened? And you say, well, there's some good data. Have you considered this? Have you considered that? And there's all kinds of historical rules that historians apply to texts. Like, man, that passage is so embarrassing. Why would the writers of the Gospels say Peter denied the Lord? I mean, he's the head disciple. Why does he deny the Lord 3 times? How come James, the brother of Jesus, apparently was not a doubter while Jesus was on the earth? How is it that we're told in the Gospels that in one passage, Jesus' mother and siblings doubted and tried to get him out of the limelight, probably as one commentator said, a lot of commentators say, because he was an embarrassment to the family. Okay, when you read those things, that's a historical rule. That's the rule of embarrassment. I probably, if we're best friends, I'm not going to say something embarrassing about you, especially if the position you hold today would be weakened if I told somebody about an incident I know about you 20 years ago. So history is important, but those are historical rules. You have enemies who don't believe in what you're reporting, but they admit this point. Do we have cases where it's very embarrassing to report this, but we reported it anyway? Why is that important? Because it happened like that. All those are reasons why history is important, and we don't have weighing, measuring, for, you know, I'm going to put this in a test tube. We don't do that for historical things. So if you're going to know something happened in history, if that's important to you, for your nation, for your nationality, where you came from, your family, your marriage, your children, if those things are important, you're going to measure all those things in terms of history. And you're going to have good, you know, hopefully good memories. But that's why history is important, because in physics, we use physics. In chemistry, we do chemistry. In anthropology and sociology, we do those disciplines. In historical questions, we use historical data. That's just how you do the research.